Hello friends, how's your research going? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rafaela. I'm an educational sociologist based in Tokyo. And in today's video, I thought of sharing my PhD journey here in Japan. I get a lot of messages from people interested in studying in Japan. So let's dive in. Just for context, I am not an international student. I grew up in Japan and I went to school in Japan. So it's a totally different process than someone thinking of coming to Japan to study abroad. So just keep that in mind. And also, I'm not talking here as a representative of a university or nothing like that. I'm only here to share my experience, and just know that every university, they offer different programs and different application process. So please check their website before you make any conclusions. All right, first of all, let me talk about the application process. In my case, I was already in the master's program and I wanted to continue pursuing my PhD program at the same institution. So technically, my master's thesis oral examination was counted as part of the process to apply for the PhD program. So it's a little bit different from someone who's applying from outside. Most cases, if you're applying to a different university or if you had a blank, meaning you were working and then you want to come back to studies, in that case, you will have to take an exam, most probably. Typically, the application process starts around springtime, which is April, May in Japan, and the exam happens in September, October. In some universities, they offer 2 examination periods, but most of the times it's just one time because they have very limited students that they can accept at that institution. And I'm afraid to tell you that still, even though we have had a lot more English programs here in Japan, but still the number is very limited. So just keep that in mind that you might have to take an examination in Japanese about your own research fields. This exam will vary very much depending on the university that you're applying for. So please check their website and see if they have any orientation and if they have the past year's examinations, so you can start practicing those questions. Of course, it's not going to be the same, but you can have an idea of what you have to prepare for. And typically in the application process, they will ask you to create a research plan, a very concrete research plan. So you will have to have already your previous research done. It is ideal if you already have set it up a research method. And before applying to the university, they recommend you to get in contact with the professor that you want them to be your advisor in PhD. And don't do this last minute. Please start contacting those professors way ahead. And if you have the chance to visit Japan and visit those institutions and talk to them directly, that will be perfect. PhD can be a very long journey, and if you have a mismatch with the advisor, it can ruin your life. I was very lucky to find an amazing, like literally amazing supervisor, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity that she gave me. But we also know that this can be very relative. So please get in touch with those professors as soon as possible. And also, most probably you will have an interview with professors from your course, not just your future supervisor. So you have to be prepared to answer questions related to your research plan and also your experiences in research. All right, now let's talk about the experience of PhD itself, how it differs compared to other countries. I would say that the most unique part of Japanese PhD program is the system that we call Manki Taigaku, which means that if you finish the course in 3 years and you want to graduate, you can graduate without the PhD degree. This is very common in humanities courses like the course I took, which was education, because in Japan, most of the universities, they require you to publish at least 1 or 2 papers, peer-reviewed papers. So that can take a long time, right? It typically takes at least 6 months to 1 or 2 years, depending on the journal that you're applying for. And that said, it's quite impossible to finish in 3 years. And I think I've seen only 1 or 2 people in my course that were able to finish in 3 years. In my case, when I was in my PhD program, COVID came, and unfortunately I had to pause my research for a while. So it was impossible for me to finish in 3 years. So I finished almost 3 years, and then I took 2 years break before the course actually finished. And I graduated from that course, and then I continued working on my PhD dissertation. So that's why at the end it took me 6 years. Also, it's important to mention that I was working at the same time, so it was quite tricky for me to find time to write and also work at the same time. But we did it, yes. And lastly, let's talk about the job application process. I think I have mentioned about my job application process in my previous video about my academic journey. But I started applying for jobs when I was in the first year of my PhD, which is kind of insane. There's a website for job hunting for academia in Japan, which is called JREC-in. And I started looking into that website and see if there was any position that I could start applying, especially because I didn't get any fellowship and I wanted to start getting work experience in academia or in education. And soon after I started applying, I realized that most job applications, they required at least 1 or 2 peer-reviewed papers. And I think that's why they also ask during your course to publish these papers. That way you're ready to apply for jobs when you're finished with your PhD. I have also considered some jobs outside of Japan, so I was able to compare the differences of the process. And one thing that I found unique about Japanese application process for job was that most of the time they require you to write like an essay about your future plans for education, how you intend to contribute to the university, and also for your research, how you intend to contribute to the society through your research. And they also sometimes ask you to create a syllabus for the class that you will be teaching at the university. And they also ask you to do a short mock class so that they can see how you teach, how you interact with the students. I actually lost count on how many applications I made, but I think it was over 20 probably. I don't know, around 20 probably. And it was kind of sad to receive all those rejection letters. But every time I received, I was able to learn from that experience. And today, looking back, I think it's kind of fair that they rejected me, because when I started applying, I didn't really have much experience in teaching, and I didn't have any papers published. And I wasn't used to the creation process of this syllabus and all those things. In my case, I took a class in my university that they offer this class to learn how to teach at university, which is super cool. And it helped me a lot because I was able to see the process of how a professor create their classes and also evaluate their students, all those things. And eventually I was able to get part-time teaching positions, and that also gave me some more experiences. And honestly speaking, since I worked in corporate, I thought that it would be negative things when applying for academia, but at the end I realized that it really helped me, because most of the things that I do today is also connected to the things that I used to do before. So if you're also someone working in corporate, I want to encourage you to apply for any jobs in academia. Don't think that you're not qualified for that job, because you probably are. So those were the main differences that I see as someone who studied my whole life in Japan and have also considered studying abroad and also working abroad. I see that a lot of people, they send me messages asking if I can be their sponsor or if I can be their supervisor to come to Japan. And unfortunately, I cannot. I'm here just to share my experience, and I'm wishing you the best so you can come to Japan to study and have a great experience here. Let me know in the comments, what did you find interesting about this Japanese academic systems and all those things. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!